What's good, beekeepers?
Good evening, everybody.
I'll tell you what, man. Our regular night is just starting to feel like another night.
Yep.
We've done so many.
What's up, Rich? Texas beekeeper.
Man, we got a bunch. Richard Noel. Who we got? Thomas Honey, Texas beekeeper. We got Jen in there, right? Oh, drop him the link. Drop the link. Drop the link.
Yeah, it was Jennifer Jameson that we had in there.
Paste in the link. Dun, 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 dun. There it is. So, man, today was a uneventful beekeeping day for me. It was very nice. Hey, Bruce, I just didn't do beekeeping activities. I did beekeeping preparation on the honey house, I guess would be finished that. Well, it ain't totally finished. I still got to caulk and do some stuff like that, but
you got the outside pretty much done.
Yeah, the outside's pretty much done. So it is, what's it called again?
Oh, the color?
Yeah.
Creamy hot cocoa.
Creamy hot cocoa. That's the color. Oh, look at this.
Hey, you got the hair all done up today.
The hair up today.
Mohican.
What's going on, guys?
And we get to see your face tonight, not your logo. Oh, we get to see the logo on the shirt. Good. That's a good question. What do you want to talk about?
I could talk about how I've been feeding the bees with this this milk mixture. The what's it called? I'm not promoting it, by the way, either.
The goat milk thing.
Yeah, the goat milk. I just been putting it in some sugar and water, and the bees have just been tearing it down, man.
Tearing it up.
They're eating it up. Yeah. So just again, not my bees. These are the local bees I've been feeding around here that are wild. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Wait till I get them in a box.
Bees in the box.
Yep.
Well, tomorrow, knock on wood, I got to go in the Demeray. So I'm going to do my best to get good footage and not have the camera fill up on the SD card, or I got batteries, so that's not a problem.
I'll say make sure it records for you.
Yeah, so mostly it'll be the top two boxes and then going down into the bottom brood chamber, right? So seeing how they've done on the comb and if she's laid anything up.
They got anything getting in the boxes in between the excluders?
Yeah, I mean, there's bees traveling in there, but I don't know if I doubt they're storing anything because the amount of work they had to do in the bottom.
Yeah, redraw all the new
to
comb.
Draw all that new comb out. But I was out there today and I had bees going out the back entrance and bees coming in out and in the front. They were coming out both directions. So they're working it. That's a good thing.
Nice.
Hey, look who we got here. We got
Billy.
I wouldn't even
look.
look.
Man of the hour.
Hello, my friends, my brothers.
What's up?
How's my beekeeping buddies doing?
Tired.
Good, man. We were just talking about you, actually.
Making fun of me, I guess.
All good things.
You missed last night's live.
No, I didn't. I watched it.
Yeah, he
It's
was
not live.
He was just in the chat there.
I always watch them, even if I'm not a part of them. I go back and I watch them all during the day, so I make sure I watch every single one.
And did you see the other night the Dirt Rooster was on, and he had
a
bag of peppermints?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he knows what's up. Everybody, hey guys, listen. You will not believe.
Oh, I'm a believer.
You will not believe who called me and was talking about peppermint and wanted to know
I know
how to put them in their hives and stuff.
How do you
Bruce
think?
Gin of Bruce's Bees.
How do you think he got your number, brother?
Did you give it to him?
I gave it to
That's cool.
Brian from Castle Hives, and Brian sent it to
That's
him.
cool. I don't care if anybody has my number. I'm like you, Bob. Call me anybody that wants to.
Yep.
But I was excited when Bruce called me and was talking about it. And I can't wait
Well,
until he sees the difference that peppermint's going to make in his hives.
I'm gonna tell you what, we might have a this is a little premature because it has not been confirmed. However, we might have a big time YouTuber coming on, possibly.
I don't reckon.
Lee, you want to break that since it's your thing?
Like I said, I don't know if it'll be today or next Tuesday. Anyway, Mr. Ed, I was talking to him online the other day, and he told me to get in contact with him, come down there to the Abbey, check everything out. So I sent him an email, which I was at work today, and I'm sure he was too, about trying to get in on the live one night with us.
How can I not love Mr. Ed, a God-fearing man that just praises Jesus every time he gets a queen? I'm all for that, man.
Hey, he's the happiest guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that I've ever seen. I've never seen him not smiling.
Yep.
Always.
That guy's is truly happy about life, man. He is happy about life. He is happy about being alive. He is happy about what he is doing. I don't see that guy's having 1 ounce of anger or stress or anxiety.
Of
or
course,
anything.
we only see what's on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, we only see what's on YouTube, but everybody. Yep, that's what Dirt Roosters.
If you want to talk about Mr. Ed being a treatment free beekeeper, he's a no hands, no touch, no anything beekeeper. He just lets them do what they do.
Right.
And we can draw a line here, guys. I'm not taking up for treatments or treatment free, but I'm saying if I'm over here doing everything I can to eradicate bugs and you're over here not doing what needs to be done to take care of the bugs, then your bugs are going to become part of my problem. And how long are we going to suffer mites and small hive beetles pooping and peeing in our honey until we decide to say, hey, I want some honey without all that in it?
Right.
I'm just saying.
Well, I
watched
try to do things as natural. I'll say that. I'm not saying that I go treatment free, but I do try to add as little chemical as possible.
Exactly. I love the natural herbs and remedies that take care of our bees. And I'm not putting down anybody. I'm not trying to. I'm just saying if beekeeper A is doing everything he can to eradicate the pest and beekeeper B is doing nothing to eradicate the pest, then beekeeper B is infecting beekeeper A. I mean, where are your mites and your beetles using the bathroom? If not on the caps, if not inside the honey, then it's on the caps. And do we not cap and strain our caps as well as we do our comb? And then does not that excrement from those bugs enter into your honey? So if I can
contamination.
Exactly. If I can have honey from a beekeeper who has no bugs,
hey Bobby,
no pest, then that's the honey I want. I'm not putting anybody down. I'm just saying I'm not okay with my bees living with or coinciding with small hive beetles and or varroa. I'm not okay with that. I want them gone. I want them out of the picture.
But with that being said, try to do it as natural as you can.
Amen. Amen. I agree.
If you have to do something or if you believe in doing something, I mean, the way I look at it, to each their own. If you want to do one thing somebody else don't want to do, I mean, that's your choice. I don't have a problem with it. But
I agree.
If I am going to do something, I'm going to try to do it close to natural as I can.
Hey, look here. We got to bring Jen in because she's the first female ever on our show. She's laughing. I hear her laughing.
I see her already.
The estrogen has arrived.
Hey, Jen.
How you doing?
How you doing? Oh, you're muted.
Okay.
Oh, you're muted.
Hey guys, no, I'm sorry. Hey guys.
Oh,
Hey, Jen.
Hey guys, no,
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry. Hey guys.
Howdy ho.
Hey
Hold on, we got a loop.
Hey guys.
We got to figure
Howdy
it out.
ho.
Hold on, we got a loop.
We got a
All right.
loop. Does somebody
Yeah.
got earphone or not have earphones in?
Hey, Jen, you got some earphones with the mic on them? We're getting bad feedback.
AirPods or earbuds or whatever.
No es posible para mí.
Yeah, hey, and Bruce makes a good point, but I mean, you can't. The feral colonies, right? So the feral colonies are always going to intermingle with you, regardless, because they're out there and they're going to have mites. And
All right,
stuff.
I'm just saying. When
I know
when
there's
when you pull your honey off, do you want to be scraping off dead beetles? Those dead beetles pack just as many viruses as Varroa. Where are they using the bathroom if not on the cappings?
In
Would
the
you
cells.
rather have the honey without those problems? That's my saying. I mean,
you want clean honey, man.
I want clean honey. I don't want beetle poop, beetle pee. I don't want Varroa mite, Varroa pee. They're using the bathroom somewhere, and even if it is on the cappings, it is still being strained into the honey. And there's certain people that I watch who will scrape off 6 to 8 inches of dead mites and beetles before they strain their honey. It doesn't matter if you scrape that off. That stuff that they have, the viruses, the bacteria, the excrements, that's in that honey that's being squished out.
Right.
That's my
Yeah.
point.
Yep, and I understand what Bruce is saying as well, though. I mean, your bees are still going to intermingle, with
Yeah.
the wild feral bees, and so
Agree.
So I think eradication is going to be difficult. How to get rid of them 100%.
I agree with that. I'm not saying that I know how to completely get rid of all of them. I'm just saying, would you rather have honey from
Hey, Tom.
a hive that is free of beetles, or would you rather see someone scraping 6 to 8 inches of beetle garbage off the top of their honey and then bottling it? And Lee, you've mentioned as well that you've had great success with peppermint and reduced the amount of beetles in your hives. Does that not also reduce the amount of excrement and disease from those beetles from your honey as well?
Yep.
Yeah, I would.
It would stand to reason, wouldn't it?
Yep.
That's all I'm saying, guys.
I posted a link in the chat. It's a documentary about the world without bees. I recommend everybody watch it when they get a chance. It's about 45
Love
minutes.
that show. Thank you for.
Did you watch it?
Yes, I did. Thank
Okay.
you for that.
I hadn't got to watch all of it yet. I've started
Yeah.
on it.
The
really good.
It's a lot of reading. You got to read a
Yeah.
lot because different languages, but it's a great show. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. I'm done.
I get you, Hillbilly. There's beehives that I see around here in the country that are a few miles away from me. What's to say that hive isn't completely infested with varroa mites is going to come over to my yard?
Yeah, I mean, we're always going to have
What I
some.
typically do whenever I catch a
reduce it as much as we can.
Yeah.
Whenever I catch a swarm, as soon as they go in the box,
That's my point exactly. If Lee's doing everything he can do, Bob's doing everything he can do, but
Hey,
then
Houston.
Earl and Rich doesn't do anything, and we're living close to you guys, are we not destroying that which you are trying to do?
Or look at it the other way. Maybe we're helping it out by limiting the number of overall mites in the area.
I'll have to find the article. My brother-in-law sent me one a couple weeks ago.
Hey,
They're doing a research study here in Baton Rouge at LSU, and it's on the genetics of bees that are more mite tolerant too.
See, that's the point I'm making. The Asian bee, Apis cerranus, has lived with varroa for years and has managed to survive. But still, where is that mite using the bathroom if it's hanging around on that bee's neck?
Yeah.
Where's the poop and pee going? Is that in your honey? If you had a beehive that had 0 mites and 0 beetles, would you rather have that honey, or would you rather have the honey from a colony that had a lot of mites and a lot of beetles, where they were actually scraping it off the top of the honey before they bottled it? What is your preference?
Oh, if I got that, I don't. If it's
I wouldn't
slimed,
even bottle it.
I'm
Yeah.
not even bottling it.
That's my point, guys. That's my point.
Mine goes into because the bees won't even eat it. If the bees won't eat it, I'm not going to eat it.
No.
Amen.
I wouldn't make nobody else eat it, you know. So, yeah, I mean, definitely the peppermint. Obviously, I didn't get footage of it. I need to. So, well, it's too late now. But when I did yesterday, when I went through my colonies, the 2 colonies that had the regular peppermint in the patties, no mites. The ones that didn't have peppermint in them, well, you know, you saw the first one had about a 50-cent piece size, maybe a silver dollar size left of pollen patty that did get some larvae in it. The other ones that I'd put in had at least 3/4 of the patty left, and it was inundated with larvae, and I had to take it out. You know, so it definitely is a reduction. The bees got to, so far, you know, they got to consume more of the patty before the beetles got in it. So that's a win in my book. So we'll see.
Yeah, I agree.
Difficulties.
I'm not saying that I have any solutions whatsoever, because even the peppermint candy is not something that I myself have created. That's something handed down to me from a mentor. And I was telling Rich this earlier. How it came about was, in the old days, at the end of the year, beekeepers would go around collecting all the leftover peppermint candies, candy canes, and things, and they use that as a sugar supplement to open feed their bees.
Right.
I imagine that it was years later, when the bugs were introduced, that they noticed that the people who were feeding that had different results than the people who were not. And because I don't think anybody just sat down and said, this is how I'm going to beat those bugs. I more or less think that it was a result of, this is what we were doing, this is what they were doing, and hey, we compared results, and then these guys got together and decided, hey, this is what's working, let's keep doing it. Again, everyone that's on my channel who has posted and commented back that has used it,
you've seen it in
the
my
way
video
that we've talked about, and even in your video, they've all had the same exact results. Not one person has said, I tried it, it didn't do no good. Not one. And again, I'm not taking any credit for that. That Casby Coleman taught it to me, and God knows who taught it to him.
Well,
you
we
know,
were talking about it last night. It's like, why do you think some of these old ways that the older generation of beekeepers used, why do you think that went away? People stopped doing it. Did the bugs become immune to it? Did, you know?
It's a good question.
No
why did
money
people?
That's like asking why years ago was there twice the amount of beekeepers than there are today. It just seems that war and work has taken away the amount of beekeepers who used to, in the old homestead days, you had to have bees in order to have, sugar. Those people that didn't have bees had to grow sugar cane and then go through the process of making their own sugar, whereas
And yet,
people
sugar
who had
cane.
bees, people with bees had their own readily source of sugar.
Yeah,
and
but
so
sugar cane is a lot to do a little. Basically, it's a lot of work for sugar cane.
Yeah. So with the production of sugar being easily readable for people to buy, the need for honey was pushed to the back. So you didn't have to have bees to get a sugar source. You could just go buy it very cheaply at Walmart.
Right.
And nowadays, people are trying to get more and more back into the old ways. And in so doing, we're finding out, hey, these old guys knew something. Somebody said one time that anytime you think you've thought of something new with bees, just read the history and you'll find out it's already been done. I think it was Michael Palmer. He was like, I just knew I had created this way of taking nukes and creating, bee reserves. But when I read in the old papers, there was somebody already doing it. So if we pay attention to the old ways, I really believe that's where the key is.
Right.
We started tilling the ground, and then we had dust storms. But then when we read the old papers from the 1800s, we had already realized that they had already came up with no-till agriculture. It's not a new thing. It's an old thing that we're trying to do again now. And I think that incorporating those old ways are going to improve the new ways of doing things. But why would they want us to do it? Why would they want you to use something as simple as putting a piece of candy in your hive when they can sell you all these beetle gels, beetle traps, and make so much money off of it?
Well,
It's just my opinion.
I am kind of running a sideline experiment just to see. So one of the colonies, the colony I did the Demaray split on, I originally put peppermints in every level of that box. And then when they were gone, when the bees consumed them all, I put the oil traps in there, right? On every box, I got an oil trap. There's not a beetle in the oil trap. I haven't seen a beetle on a piece of comb at all.
Let me elaborate on that. When you put those pieces of candy in the corners, the bees are going to eat so much of it, but some of it is going to melt and run down those cracks and absorb into the wood. And to me, that is going to be a future protection against beetles wanting to gather or lay eggs in those cracks and crannies.
It's going to leave a residual.
Yeah, the residual effects of the melting peppermint is just as beneficial, I think, as the bees eating it themselves. But I've no science to back me up. That's just my belief.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong. I could be wrong, guys.
Well, all I'm saying is you can watch the videos ever since I've known you, right? When you go back to January and start watching those videos and you see my Swiffer sheets that are just inundated with beetles and beetles running on the frame when I'm looking at them, right? There's a beetle, I'm smashing them. And
yes, sir.
Once we started the peppermint, if I see one hive beetle in the colony, I'm surprised at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I see you now. You're like, wait, let me look. One beetle. No. Okay, here's one beetle. And then other ones, you're like, there's no beetles.
Houston, me and Hillbilly were talking about that the other day. The old school beekeepers that aren't around anymore, they knew it, dude. They knew it.
Well, they're also not on YouTube, most of them.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I'm trying to get my mentor on YouTube because he's generational. I'm like, dude, you know too much to not.
Yeah, my mentor is on there. His videos are not, and I'm not talking bad about him. He's not a videographer. He's not an editor.
I love watching him.
Yeah, I mean, you see basically from here down in his hands, and he's talking very Southern, and he's just trying to explain what he does,
He's great.
That's about
South Carolina Happy Bees. He is awesome.
That's about like my videos. Half of them, once I make my quick introduction, neck down, and I'm in the box.
I love your videos, Lee.
Bees and everything this time of year. Anybody seeing any swarms?
I haven't. Well,
I haven't, not yet.
I did a lot of preemptive swarm stuff, right? Take a split off all the colonies that died, kill off part of the bees, and that gives them plenty of room.
Yeah, Tex, I'm trying to get him and his wife to do a beekeeping channel. Because he legit is generational. His whole family's been keeping bees. He said his great uncle kept bees till the day he died at 112 years old.
Those are the guys I want to learn from.
Dude, he's like, I had to go. He's like, dude, when my great uncle died, when I first met my mentor, he's like, when my great uncle died, he's like, we were real tight. And he's like, I had to go pick up beekeeping equipment from the old folks' home because he refused to go into a home unless he got to take beekeeping gear with him. He wanted to take his bees with him. And he was like, till the day he died, he kept bees. And he lived to be 112 years old.
That's
the only negativity that I've found with talking with my great uncles and stuff is they're like, how many bee gums you got, Earl? You know,
Nice,
and I'll be
Jennifer.
like, I got 3, but they still call them bee gums. They don't call them hives. And that was pre-Varroa. That was pre small hive beetle. That was back when they didn't have to worry about the things that we have to worry about now.
Yeah.
Right, but you have to assume that those hive beetles in Varroa just didn't poof out of thin air.
Yeah.
So they've
Oh,
been
they didn't.
around. I mean, maybe we didn't know enough to look for them, or we saw there was a problem and didn't know what the problem was, or didn't have the technology to understand what the problem is. And to be honest with you, I don't think they still understand what the problem is, because if they did, we wouldn't have the problem anymore.
I am fully like under the impression that the bees are kind of sitting back laughing at us because maybe we're looking at things too complicated.
Right. I mean,
I can agree with that.
Whenever you can put a peppermint candy, I lost 9 colonies in 1 year to hive beetles. 9 colonies. If all I had to do was put peppermint candy in the corner, if I'd have known that a year earlier, I would have at least 9
a lot more colonies.
Yeah,
a lot more.
Hey,
colonies.
Jennifer, where are you getting your nukes from your first year? Are you going to get them from Texas Bee Supply, or do you have somebody close? I know we're neighbors and everything. Do you have somebody close to you that you can get nukes from? I'd be interested to know.
That's when I got my first nukes, were like later in the year like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was more frustrating waiting to get the nukes and I ended up catching a couple swarms before my nuke actually showed up.
Yeah.
So
I got one more thing to say about treatment free, absolutely treatment free, versus people who try natural remedies, or even those who try, other remedies that are more well known, such as oxalic acid. How many of us people have had the corona vaccination? Do we just say, I'm not going to take the corona vaccination?
Dude, I've been stuck so many times with the needle
and kill half of our friends? Or do we take the corona vaccination so that we become more healthy? And are bees any different than us? I mean, we're both, us and bees, except for some of my native heritage, we're invasive to this country.
We're invasive to the planet.
Yeah.
So
we really are.
So to be able to take these vaccines and things, which makes us better able to live in this environment, do we not then too have to do the same thing for our bees? And if we ignore vaccinating our bees, might as well to not vaccine ourselves. And then how much more are we spreading polio, chickenpox, vaccine, and hepatitis to other people when there are vaccines that can stop that from happening? Yeah. I don't understand completely how someone can just say, I'm not going to do anything to my bees whatsoever and allow that to happen. I don't. Maybe they can help me understand it.
I was about to say the same thing. We go down that road, and we're going to get censored.
Yep.
Right.
No censoring.
So here we go. So now we're going to bring in Bruce, that is 100% treatment free, and we're going to.
And I love this guy. I love Bruce. I love his way of thinking.
But we're going to keep it professional.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Jennifer.
All right.
I'm tracking with you, Jennifer.
Hey, Bruce.
I always get that introduction.
Yeah.
Bruce is answering.
How do you like me now, Bruce?
Well,
make sure everybody keeps it professional once I'm coming in, but it's cool. I'm used to it.
No, but it's just the two different ways of thinking it, and I'm open to listening to the other side because that's what this whole thing's about, learning.
Absolutely. I need to understand all points
I'm
of
about
it
to make
so
you
that I
understand.
can put it together.
The analogy, using humans as an analogy for not treating your bees, I'll tell you why it doesn't make sense. Because humans can treat themselves. They can take care of themselves. We're our own species taking care of ourselves. That's the exact same thing I want my bees to do.
I get it.
Humans don't have another species coming down and tinkering with their selection process of humans. We do that to ourselves. So using vaccinations in place of treatments for bees, it sounds good, but when you break it down, it doesn't do anything. Earlier you were talking about, would you rather have honey that's from a hive that had mites or doesn't have mites? It all tastes the same. It tastes exactly the same. Whether you would eat honey from a hive that got slimed out is just, no one would consider bottling a slimed out beetle filled, larva filled honey into a jar. It would explode. So those two things, I mean, that's about as clearly as I can explain those two. Yeah,
But
now
everyone is not as conscientiously minded as you, Bruce. There are people out there who will say, you know what? I can bottle this. I'm going to do it.
okay, but that's going to go way off the subject, though. You can't equate that with what a treatment-free beekeeper does.
They won't have any honey customers after that.
Yeah, like, but there's thousands, there's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of us. So we're not all. Our honey tastes exactly the same. It's not tainted with anything. It's going to have all the same stuff in that anybody's honey does. So that argument, I mean, I'm here to listen to them all, but they all usually have a really simple explanation why they don't work.
The only thing that kind of gets me with it is I understand the philosophy of bees in nature deal with it themselves and they manage it and they survive and they live, right? But we're
Sometimes.
taking those bees and putting them in a abnormal situation by putting them in a beehive in a box, right? Just put them in
Well, it
box.
depends. We can, yeah. So if you catch a feral colony that's been in a tree for 30 years and you stick it into an apame hive on plastic large cell frames and you do all kinds of manipulations and you got drone comb in the middle and you're doing all kind of dumb beekeeper stuff, yeah, you mess them up really bad. For me, if I catch a nice feral colony, been in a building for 10 years, I'm putting them on foundation lists. I'm really just letting them do their thing. There's not much difference. Of course, the hive is not going to have the best insulation that they're used to, but their life really isn't that much different than being in that tree. They are getting poked around a little bit, but nothing really changes for them unless you're, just like I was saying, using all kinds of commercial methods on them. Then their life is big time changed. So,
Well, as you know, Bruce, only thing I use on my hives, I have used formic acid in the past, but I've elected not to do that again because of the bee loss that I had because of using formic acid. Peppermint candy is the only supplement that other than beef fondant, I do feed beef fondant and I do mix it a little bit differently, and only Rich knows how I mix my fondant. But I do feed fondant, I do feed sugar water, and I do use peppermint candy. Outside of that, I don't do anything to my bees, and they seem to be doing very well because of it. Um, uh, it's still, I guess, a form of treatment in that I am using something that is not just readily available to them unless I plant it close enough for the hive to use.
yeah,
But
but
somebody has to play devil's advocate here
I'll
and
do
weigh
that.
both
Yeah.
sides.
Feeding is never a treatment. Feeding, some places you never have to feed your bees. Some places you have to feed your bees no matter what. Feeding doesn't affect mites unless you're adding something to it. So feeding, if I put pure sugar syrup on my hives, it's not a treatment. I don't even want to get into like mincing what treatments are and what they're not. If you're trying to fight against a pest and not letting the bees do it, then it's a treatment. Just fondant, it's not a treatment. But that's a good question. I like Texas Beekeeper here because I get this all the time. I always hear too few beekeepers are constantly buying bees. I bought one package 13 years ago. I've never bought bees since then, and I went from 2 colonies to 125. That's what's selling a ton of bees. And
But now
I support that
that
about Bruce. I
is that
myself
normal,
want some of
or are
Bruce's
you
bees.
kind of,
hold on, I can't hear you, Bull.
is that normal or is that an abnormal situation?
No, I mean, yes, it's not totally normal. Not too many people go after as many bees as I do, but my whole goal, like, and my kind of goal in messing with bees and talking to people is for hobbyists. I don't care about commercial beekeepers or sideliners. I don't try to force them to take on the way I do things. But yeah, if you're only planning to keep 2 or 3 colonies in your yard and you're buying bees every year, it's a waste of time. You should just trap bees, have fun with them. If
About
one or two dies, try again.
About 5 miles from here, I see somebody every spring. They set up 2 horizontal hives in their front yard, and you'll see them out there working bees. Come the end of the year, the whole hive is gone. They take all that comb, crush it, strain it, and I guess just let the bees fly out.
They
And to
could.
me, I mean, it's kind of a waste if they bind the bees every year like that,
Yeah.
and then the bees have to rebuild everything.
Well,
It makes financial sense though if you think about it. You spend $150 on bees, you get $1,000 worth of honey. Why waste? Why leave 80 pounds of honey on them over winter when you can just spend $150 again in the spring?
Yeah.
You could do that. I mean,
Well, I'm looking at getting 8 nukes here in the next week or two. The only reason I'm doing that, I'm starting a whole new yard, and the swarms around here, we're not seeing nothing this year. I see a couple of scalps on swarm traps.
Well, it's not like you live right in the middle of Mr. Ed and
Yeah.
Shawi and all those guys live within like 30 minutes from you.
Yeah.
And with all the things I've said, guys, I want you to know that I plan on visiting Bruce this summer to get some of his bees for myself. I want that stock of bees that he has.
I'd like to try them
I
out.
want to be able to not treat and not have to worry about my bees. I want that, but I still have to ask and play devil's advocate. And what are the pros and cons of everything that we do as beekeepers?
So Mike at Coon Lake High says, Bruce, what's your annual dead out percentage?
well, I'll tell you. I'll get to that in a second. But for what Earl's saying, my bees, I just do what a lot of people do when they don't treat their bees. They catch feral bees, they do cutouts, and they let the best survive. But they're not super special, indestructible, bulletproof bees. Anybody can do it anywhere. It's not something. I don't claim to have. I don't claim that they're super bees. I mean, I do have bees that I've had for several years that have never been treated and survived, but they're not super bees.
But basically, I guess you're trying to say, like, say my number 1 yard here, if I just don't do any treatments, some of them may die off, but the ones that don't die off, try to get a graft from that. That way I got the one that didn't die. It's a survivor, in other words.
I mean, ideally, it's a little more than that, but the way you're tied, you have money tied up in it. Like you have 8 nukes, you got plenty of money tied up in it. So you're, it's a conflict of interest going to be going on in your brain the whole time. So you're never going to be able to do it with paid for bees.
I see Bob laughing about that money tied up.
Yeah. Once you got that money tied up in there, forget about it.
And I mean, if I'm just trying to grow my number 1 yard here, yeah, I would just take splits off, and I am doing that. I'm making splits, making new hives, but I'm trying to set up an entire new yard. That's why I was buying nukes. If it wasn't for setting up a new yard, I wouldn't buy one. I'd just make my own splits.
Especially down there where you're at, man. If you put the effort into swarm trapping and swarm chasing, you could have 3 times as many as you have.
I've
Way
got
more than that.
Like I said, I've got 4 traps out right now, and yet we getting a few scalps, but that's it. Ain't nobody.
That's the thing about where I'm at, Lee, is that I'm so isolated that if I can get a bee that can take care of itself and do something like just feeding it a little bit of peppermint in the sugar water and helping it to be free of pests, then the chance of me getting those pests back again are very slim because I'm so isolated where I live. I'm miles away from anything. Gus Mitchell, I just found out the other night, he's actually from 30 minutes from where I live here, and he understood when he said, "Hey, Si," he's like, "You're up there where there's nothing," and there really isn't. There's nothing here but national forest, and what isn't national forest is owned by like Georgia Pacific and other uh, pals and such people as that I'm isolated to the point where if I can eliminate varroa and small hive beetles, the odds are my bees ain't going to get them again, and that's the goal I'm after. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm not saying it's possible, but that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. Now, I mean, probably mid-April is going to be our peak swarm time. Last year, I caught 3 swarms in the exact same box in the same place. Caught a swarm, brought it home, put it in another box, brought that box right back. Next week, caught another one. 3 weeks in a row. But this year, I mean, I'm not seeing the scouts as much. But, I mean, yeah, we still got a few more weeks to the peak, too.
We had such a late fall that I think it's going to make for a late spring. I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
that's my thinking.
You're you go after like cutouts and stuff like that. I've got a church that 2 years ago I went out and removed a colony out of. They've got a cinder block post that goes up to their eave on their front porch, going up into the church, and I removed the bees out and I grate stuffed it, and I told them, now you guys got to fix this or they're going to come right back. And they were here a few weeks ago buying honey from me, and they said, oh, your buddies are back in our post again. And it was pretty difficult because I didn't want to drill into the cinder block post to like either honey robber them or smoke them up out of the top. They're not in the eave. At least they weren't last time. They're just in the post. What do you think the best way to get those things out of there is?
Well, I have a situation like that going on now where they're in a tree where there's only one entrance that I could possibly put a trap out going on before they swarm. So that way when they do swarm, the new queens can't get out to mate, or they can get out, but they can't get back in. That's probably what I'm going to end up doing, just so I don't have to, I can't take the tree down. That's the best way to really weaken that colony really fast. And if it's in a post, you're not worried about sealing them up and the wax rotting or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's inside of a post. I mean, it's a cinder block post.
Yeah, cinder block post column.
I'd get on them early before they swarm and just trap them out. And, maybe, or try to force them to abscond.
Yeah, that's what I tried. I put a bunch of smoke in them, and I put a bunch of honey robber in there. And
they make it look easy on YouTube. It's not that easy. It's way harder than that.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, it's you. Okay. Every time that sound goes off, I start looking at my Facebook.
Yeah, I got a phone call. I didn't mean to have it. Okay, that one ain't me. Actually, it was. Sorry. My bad.
Somebody asked about my loss percentage or something like that. Let me scroll here.
Yeah, it was. Mike at Coon Lake said Bruce annual dead out percentage. Thanks.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, I don't. I've had years where I've had 80% of them die, and then I had more. Usually, if I had to say an absolute average, I would say 70%, between 65 and 75% survival rate. If you averaged all my years, that's with an 80 thrown in there and 100% year when I only had 25 colonies. They all live, which was a shocker. That was the coldest winter we ever had in my life, and I had all 25 live. But so it can swing wildly, but what makes me happy is that I know that I have actual survivor bees. You can't compare it to a treating beekeeper because it's apples to oranges. Like I've said before, when something that's on life support and lives is not the same as something that gets beat to death and lives. So you can't compare my survival rates to somebody who's, I have 95% survival every year. Well, yeah, but we're not comparing the same thing. So reality, 65, 70% for an average. And I love it. I mean, I could deal with worse than that easily.
Yeah.
50.
like you said too, though, you're not trying to be a big sideline or a commercial, so you're not worried if you do have a dead out.
Nah, 50 hives is perfectly like nice and easy to take care of. I don't ever want to do over 100 again.
Yeah.
And 10 or 12, I'd be bored with that. But
All right.
Myself,
Sure.
I'm thinking anywhere between 100 and 150.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot
Sharon
of
said she lost all 5 hives to small hive beetles last year. I would not bottle my honey after being slimed. I have 150 pounds of it in my freezer. They will not touch it. Should I toss it? Is it all of that honey that you have in the freezer is slimed out? I would probably just cut the comb out if it's on, or scrape the comb off the foundation. If it's slimed honey.
Well, they can't get it if it's in the freezer. How do you know they won't take it?
Well, she may have tried to give it to them when they wouldn't take it, so she stuck it in the freezer till she could figure out what to do with it.
If they're all slimed, I would just scrape it in a bucket and try to render the wax out if you can. And
the
put
honey
it out in September.
But it's going to be a lot of work. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. Yep, I had 9 of 15 colonies got wiped out by small hive beetles, and I got a video where I got a 5-gallon bucket and I scraped all the. I mean, it's in the middle of the summer, right? So I'm scraped all the comb off of the foundation into a bucket, and you got beetle larvae just all undulating in the nastiness. It was
myself, I think I would build a little fire and just throw it on it. Not the frames. Scrape the frames off, keep them. But I would just do away with the honey. Even if the bees did want it, I don't think I would want to give it to them, because no telling what viruses and all may be in that honey. Since the hive beetles have been in it.
Yeah, there's really not much telling on it. So I would, if they won't eat it, and that's theirs, I would definitely get rid of it.
Yeah. Let's see. Anybody else have a question?
I'm glad that we've all been able to have this kind of discussion and be on both sides of the fences and weigh consider all things. I really do, and I support that, and I appreciate that at the same time. I do. I hope that someday nobody ever has to do something as harsh as formic acid or oxalic acid or any of that nasty junk to their bees, because the same question I can ask, what's it like to have beetles and mites in your colony, I can ask, what's it like to have an abundant amount of oxalic acid or of thymol or formic acid in your honey? And as we all know, honey, or wax rather, wax is hydrophobic, water hating, but it can absorb all these other things that come into the colony, which is why so many people say my honey tastes a little bit like smoke. Mm-hmm. So that being said, I don't want to seem like I'm on one side of the fence or the other, because as of right now, I'm not. What I want is that best bee I can get, as healthy as I can get it, so that it doesn't have the pest or the disease that we're dealing with these days. We didn't have them once upon a time, and I believe with all my heart we can get there once again, but only if we all work together. And I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. Does that make sense without making myself seem like a hypocrite? Because I don't want to be that.
Well, you guys see, I don't even hardly use smoke at all. Even if it's a pissy colony, I don't smoke them. Everybody else, and I'll get comments all the time on the videos. Well, if you use the smoke, jackass, you wouldn't have this problem. But, it's like, it is what it is.
And coal mining.
What it sounds like I was saying is that someday we'll be, at one time there were no mites or beetles, and someday we'll get back to that. We'll never wipe that out of your mind right now. We'll never get rid of mites.
I can't do it, Bruce. I can't do it.
In fact, be ready for new parasites to come. Well, you guys are still sitting there worrying about varroa mites all the time, and we should be. varroa mites should be where tracheal mites have been for the past 30 years. No one cares. No one bothers with them. These guys are going to still be fighting varroa mites and beetles, and then here comes hypoleptor, whatever the hell the other one is, come in, or some
Tropolapsis.
yeah, tropolapsis,
The kryptonite bee.
or maybe the honey hawk will come flying in and take our honey away.
Well,
I can't accept it. I can't accept defeat. I have to fight with everything in me to achieve that which I believe is possible.
Well, I've been doing pretty much my mite treatments. People say, "Well, what's your mite count?" Don't know. I just prophylactically treat them, and then when it's honey season, I don't. And then in the fall, I hit them hard, And then if they make it through winter, good. We'll start then, And
that being said, I've never seen a mite on my bottom boards. Never.
Well, I mean, it's definitely two different ways of thinking, right? And to be honest with you, this is very much knowledge. I appreciate this knowledge because I'm only mimicking what I was taught and what I was shown.
Yeah.
Same
right.
here.
So when you start beekeeping, you're going to do things the way you're shown to do them. And if they don't show you how to be a more natural or treatment-free beekeeper, then you're basically following what you've been shown. I'm not saying that's bad or wrong or right or anything like that, but I'm open to learning new techniques and new tricks, right? So it's not necessarily a bad thing. But if I can get to not having to buy Apivar and all kinds of stuff, hey, great. That's better. That's
as me and Rich was talking earlier, if you always do what you've always done, you're always going to get what you've always got. Somebody has to make a change, and something has to. I cannot accept the fact that they're here now and they're always going to be. I can't accept that. I mean,
can you give me an example of any other pest that's ever been eradicated from the United States? Can just give me one. Over 600 years, there's not been a single insect eradicated from here they came close with a couple, but
they came close with bed bugs, but they came back. I can see what you're saying.
I mean, boll weevil, they came a little bit close. I mean, DDT didn't work.
Well, even look at cockroaches. They survived nuclear blasts.
I hate those some bitches. And I don't cuss, but I hate them some bitches.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, mostly, if you want to go with the corona route, if we don't get banned, look at that. They started treating that, and then all of a sudden there's 3 or 4 different variants of it now, So yeah, there's always going to be pests. So like I said, I'm more worried about hive beetles than I am varroa mite, to be honest with you. I mean, Dirt Rooster said the same thing.
Hive beetles and moths are way more a high priority for me than is varroa mite, because as I mentioned to you guys, I don't see the varroa mite problem that other people see away from here. I just don't.
But I was surprised because I watched one of your videos and I don't remember the name of it, but you cracked that thing open and it was loaded with hive beetles. I mean,
I showed you guys that one. Yeah, that was the one that got sprayed by Penn State.
Hey guys, I love you guys. I appreciate y'all inviting me on and letting me be on. Bruce, it's always great getting to talk to you, buddy. I appreciate you guys. I do, but I'm going to have to jump off here. And I just want to say I love you guys. I love the fact that all you guys love bees, and we're all trying to do the best that we can for our bees. And that being said, I just want to say that I wish everybody the best possible for you and your bees. God bless you all and your bees. But it's time for me to duck out. And love you guys, and God bless.
All right, we'll talk to you later. Thanks, Earl.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yep, anytime.
Take care, Earl.
Yeah, talking about the hive beetles or the varroa mites. Last year, I uncapped a couple of drone cells. I didn't see any mites. Not to mean they wasn't there. I just didn't see them, but I did see a few hive beetles. And that's our biggest problem down here.
Yeah, even Dirt Rooster said that. he's treatment free. Dirt Rooster. I didn't know that. Dirt Rooster's treatment free, and
Yeah, I didn't realize that either.
he's trying the peppermint.
Also, JP the Beam Man, also Mr. Ed. I mean, these guys, and look at what they're doing. They're getting bees that haven't been dealt with, but haven't been tinkered with from people for at least a couple seasons sometimes.
Yeah.
Right.
And they just keep them. They sell plenty. I mean, he does a lot more than me. He does 100 times what I do. But when I found that out, I was pretty stoked about it because I was not treating bees for 3 or 4 years before I even knew that it was a thing. I didn't even know that anybody. I thought I was the only person in the world until I found out there was other people.
Yeah, my first year, like I said, I only had the one swarm that I'd got from somebody, and I got that late June. So I mean, the nectar flow was over, so I did have to do a little feeding, but I didn't do no treatment that year. I didn't really know yet. That was my first set of bees. I was still learning.
Well, like I said, I'm not against not treating my bees for sure. I need to definitely do some more research on what, like you said, well, anything you put in there could be a treatment. So peppermint, I don't know. Peppermint natural. I don't know what else is in the peppermint candy.
Yeah, I was kind of saying the opposite. I was saying like it doesn't do any good for me to like sit there and everything, say this is the treatment, this isn't the treatment, or that is peppermint or whatever. The main whole thing is varroa mites. Maybe not in your area, but up here, varroa mites are the number one thing that kills everybody's bees.
Yeah.
Well, we've got them. I mean, I know we got them because I had one colony I went out to right coming out of winter, like it might have been early January, and I found 4 bees in the colony that had deformed wing virus, and that colony's still alive. Now I nuked them with oxalic acid. That's for sure. I did nuke them with oxalic acid, and they're still alive at this moment. So, but then I've got other colonies that didn't show deformed wing virus, and they didn't make it, and they had stores. So
only had one hive in the fall that I noticed. I seen a few bees the wings were messed up on, and that was it. But they still going.
all right. So Jennifer said, when you find, well, here's the thing. So when you go treatment free, there's a whole different thought process, right? So you probably don't even check for mites.
No, I don't. But I allowed the inspector to do mite counts a couple times in my apiary, and he did one that had, I think it was 51 mites in a 300 bee count. I counted all the bees, and then the other one was like 35 or something like that. And he only did 2 counts. One died, one lived. You're supposed to treat at 3, I guess. Well, when they first started treating, it was 20. Then it went down to 15, then 10, then 8, then 6.
Which shows me they don't know.
Now 3, and that was back when you only did it once a year. So now you're doing it 3 or 4 rotations a year, 2 days, 3 days apart. 6.
Right.
You would think I could go by heart, but it's a lot.
When I do mine, I'll do it every 5 days for either 21 or 25 days in that area. So 4 to 5 treatments, basically.
Well, and we have to do it that way because we don't really get a brood break the whole year, so it's one of those things where, like where you're at, it gets cold enough, they probably stop brooding up for a period of time for people that do treat up there, I don't do mite shakes. I don't just randomly kill bees to see if mites are in there. I assume there's mites in there because everybody says there's mites in there, so if I'm going to treat, why kill an extra 3? Actually, you're going to kill 600, right? Because you're going to kill 300 before, then you're going to treat them, and then you're going to kill 300 after to see.
Yeah, to see if it worked.
And see if it worked. But
and then
that's
if it didn't, then you got to do it again.
You got to do it again, another 300.
Yeah, so it's like,
hey, Ron,
if I'm going to treat them, I'll just treat them, and that's kind of the way I looked at it. I don't shake them. I don't, then they're going to say, well, how do you know if it's effective?
Yeah, I bought the little easy mic check, the thing you put the alcohol in, bees shake. I ain't used it. Now here, I mean, we do not require treatments here in Louisiana or inspections. I mean, now if I'm doing queen breeding or packages or nukes and shipping across state lines, then they want to do an inspection just to verify we're not sending anything infected out to another state. Now, if I want an inspection, all I have to do is call and they'll come out and do one for free. But that's even as a hobbyist. But if you have one hive in Louisiana as a hobbyist, they have to be registered with the state.
And we don't have to register here at all.
Yeah, here you have to be registered, and if you sell bees, you have to be inspected twice a year.
Yeah.
And then if you sell bees in any way, shape, or form, so I have that every year. Somebody asked, it's easier to come back from massive loss compared to having just a few and relying on swarms. I would not agree with that.
Well, he said if you have a lot of bees, it's easier to come back from massive losses because you can make splits and stuff. But
yeah, but when you think about it, if you have a lot and you have a massive loss, then you have to replace that many bees. If you only keep 3 or 4, you can absolutely catch 3 or 4 swarms with very little effort. I tell everybody how to do it dozens of times a year. You can watch YouTube how to do it. It's very easy to catch a few swarms. You guys do it.
Yeah. I get calls. I mean, especially if you're on like Facebook and people know you're a beekeeper and they see a swarm, they're going to contact you and say, hey, I got these, come get these bees out of my tree for me.
Just call your exterminators up. I got like 75 last year, and that was with giving away a ton of calls. That was just like not even my best year. So anybody can catch 4 or 5 easy. I mean, with traps and just getting your name out there like you guys do. Facebook.
Hey, I'll be back in just 1 minute.
But
all right. So yeah, I mean it's definitely a I'm not saying there's a wrong or right way to do it. I just think that we get taught certain ways to do things, and that's kind of the path we follow, right?
And I agree. The only reason I jumped on is because and I appreciate that you guys let me have the chance to counter when I hear things that are just they're just wrong, or it's a bad analogy. A lot of things just get to go unchallenged. Treatment-free beekeepers get just pushed down and mugged and bullied down all the time, and they would allow. I'm blocked from a lot of channels and Facebook groups and everything. So I appreciate that you let me come on and respond to even my buddy Earl. I had to let you guys know that the analogy of you using your cattle or your kids or something as an analogy for treating your bees, it doesn't make sense. And
right.
And the fact and the idea that the honey is somehow different because I don't treat, and the other one was that if I don't treat, I'm hurting someone else's bees down the road, which also doesn't fly because there's plenty of feral colonies everywhere. So now if you're down the road from me and I have 85 treatment-free colonies, and you think they're hurting your 500 down the road, that's just I don't think so. Usually they hurt mine, by coming over here and robbing all my feeders and everything. It's usually the other way around.
You steal your sugar water.
Oh yeah, there's people down the road that just bring their bees up in the fall here, 300-400 colonies, way more than I have.
Right.
And yeah, they show up here in black clouds over my little swimming pools full of sugar water, and then when they're done with that, they go to hives. So it happens. It doesn't happen for me messing up their hives. But yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. I mean, we want this to be an open forum. That's the whole kind of format we go with. Anybody can join, and we'll just talk bees. That's I'm never opposed to hearing the other side of the story. And it gets to the point to where you're just like, it's like anything. When you go to watch a YouTube video and somebody says something that you may or may not agree with, then don't do it. Just don't do it. You know what I mean? It's not like a big thing. You just don't do that. It doesn't mean that they didn't have a valid point.
That's what you were saying a while ago, Bob. If somebody teaches you something and that's the only thing you know, basically that's the only way you're going to do it until you do learn another way.
Right. So, I'm not advocating, and anybody that's watching, I'm not advocating either side. They're your bees.
Believe it or not.
Right? They're your bees. Keep them how you want to keep them.
Hey, Rick.
And I guarantee the way you keep them today Next year, you're going to keep them different. You're going to learn something new, a new trick, whether it's a double screen bottom board split or a demarray that I never did before this year. I watched the video and I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty reasonable. Let me try that. And, it's what you want to do. It's your hobby. It's your bees. It's your bee yard, and it's your money. And hopefully everything works out and everybody's successful.
Yeah, but I agree there. I'm gonna hop down and give you some room for some other people to come up.
All right. Well, if they want to,
Yeah, I'll
we
drop
usually
that.
toss it out here, and
maybe I'll come back on. I know you guys go for 4 or 5 hours sometimes.
we're probably not going to go that long.
I don't work tomorrow, so
Yeah, I got to get up early, so I'm gonna have to get out about 9 now. If everybody else wants to keep going, have fun.
Oh yeah. When are you getting off?
Probably around 9ish.
Oh, so like an hour. Yeah. So that's probably be it tonight. We're trying to condense them down because if you know, did you remove him or he removed himself?
I think he did.
Okay.
I
But
didn't click him.
if you notice, we've been going live more often than the once a week. We did a Friday night. We did a Saturday night.
I believe it's Sunday.
We did a Sunday night.
was
Sunday night was the no life beekeeper chat.
Is today Monday?
No,
today's
today's Tuesday.
Last night was the No Life Beekeeper Chat, I think. I've done all my days.
Yeah, we just do them. We just go live. That's it. So if you want to come in, Houston, Sharon, Sarah, anybody watching, we would love for you to join in, especially if it, somebody hadn't been here before. Come on in, Ricky. Come on in, man. Woo.
Hey, Ricky, click that link.
Yeah, it's on there. Click it. Click it. Click it now. And while you're clicking, click the thumbs up button.
Smack that like button.
Big news. Big news. So the other night I was talking and I said, I've got 1,599 subs. I'm one away from 1,600. And guess what happened? One person dropped out. So then I went to 1,598. Then I checked it this morning and I had like 1,604. So whoop, whoop, hit the 1,600. I appreciate the guys, the 1,600 subs. So Houston said he's treatment free. He was treatment free for 9 seasons. Peer pressure. That's right, Sarah. Come on.
Come on in.
Come on in. Woo. Hey, and trust me, there is no dumb question. So if you think that you're going to ask something that you think is dumb, trust me. If you watched yesterday's show, yesterday was the dumbest day I've ever had in beekeeping, other than decapitating a queen and watching one fly off in the wind. Besides that, yesterday was pretty much my dumbest day.
I always heard the dumbest question is the one that you didn't ask.
Right.
Ask a question. You might get the answer you want. You might not, but you'll never know. Try it. Come on in.
Yeah. So tomorrow is going to be a film day for me. So I've definitely got to try to film that Demarray. Well, I'm going into Demarray tomorrow. So I will film that as long as the weather is up. You know what? Oh, I don't know if I can. Let me see. Let me see if I can show the picture of the nearly completed honey house here. I know I sent the picture to my
I got it.
Huh?
I said I got it.
You got it up there already? You can show it?
No, I just said I got it on the phone you sent me. I hadn't shared it to the computer. I can if you need me to.
I could pull it up. All right. Now, ignore the junk in the yard that actually came out of the porch. So if anybody's been watching any of my videos, you know I had an old screen porch around the back of the house from it was built in 1960, and I got my new extracting equipment and put it into the let me see, into the back of the house. So the last 4 or 5 days I've been working on this.
Yep. I believe since Friday is when you put the verse board up.
And so now it's what the hell is it? Creamy hot cocoa or something color?
I think it was creamy hot cocoa.
Creamy hot cocoa. Oh, hold on. Didn't think it was going to do that. So I showed you the first side. That's the other side, the back side of it. So it's got 2 doors like it did before.
You want me to add it up to the stream?
Huh?
You want me to add it up?
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about it and didn't show it. Okay, yeah, add it to the stream. Sorry about that. Technical difficulty. Idiot beekeeper alert. So this is the one side of the screened porch, and that's the creamy hot cocoa color, and that's the other side of the porch. So I got it trimmed out. I still need to do a little bit, hang the gutter back up, but definitely better than the screened in porch. So
now you got you a nice room to work in.
Yeah, but I got a story about, you see this wheelbarrow sitting there?
Mm-hmm.
I leave that wheelbarrow there because that's my bees have taken to that as a watering source. And there's cans and stuff because my burn pile was there. So I was loading them into the wheelbarrow so I could dump them, right? But then it rained. And then the next day when it was nice out, I noticed all the bees were going down in there and getting water out of it. So I've just left it there. So that's kind of...
I got a couple of old brass flower pots in the backyard, come from one of my grandma's house. And I mean, they're just old decorative, but they don't have no plants in them. And the rain hit it. That's where the bees want to go for water. They line up all the way around the edge of it.
And now I've got a hose leak, and the hose leak is like dribbling water. It's like where 2 hoses come together. It's dribbling water into the dirt, and then they'll just all land there now and start drinking out of that too. So yeah, I know. I wish I could explain to you guys. I know the yard looks terrible with a lot of stuff in it, but if you guys would have saw it when we came here, Lord have mercy.
Mine was bad here. Well, I got a neighbor down the road been doing some work here for me, cleaning different stuff up.
I'm almost thinking about getting them to drop off like a construction dumpster, so I can just chuck everything in it and just let them haul it off at one time.
Well, we flooded here in 2016. I have a double wide, and it's probably 4.5 foot off the ground, and we had about 3 foot of water in it. And everything that we ripped out, I had an old hole from the swimming pool. That's where it all went. Yep. All the appliances, I mean, all that I set on the side, and I'd planned on scrapping later, and it just sat there.
Well, even the local dump, they've got regulations on stuff you can and can't throw out. But if you get them to bring that dumpster, you can chuck just about anything in it.
Well, I mean, as far as the hole, I didn't put anything bad in. It was just like the old sheetrock, paneling, anything like that we threw out. Any metal appliances I put on the side of my old shed, and I was going to scrap it later. I never did, and it's been sitting there since 2016. So I called my little neighbor. I said, look, he likes scrapping stuff. I said, come get it. You can have it all. I said, in fact, I'll give you another $100 on top of it.
Just to tote it out of here.
Yep.
Rich is back. Rich, your mic is muted, Mr. Rich. Maybe he's not ready to come in. There he is. He's back again.
Still muted. There you go.
This little private chat thing.
Bluetooth, hang on.
The little private chat thing. I'm the worst at looking at that.
I am too. I'm trying to get better because, like I said, I got 3 screens here that I'm looking at, plus multiple things on each screen.
Oh, and if anybody sees Spanky, tell him we apologize that he didn't get added in last night. We got talking, and I saw him sitting in the chat, but we were on a topic, and I didn't want to, switch off the topic that we were talking on right at the moment. And then by the time we went to add him, he had left, and then I didn't see him anymore. So
I have a bad problem because when we got people across the bottom, if somebody else comes in, you got to scroll down. And if I don't scroll down, I can't even see it. It took me a while to realize he was there.
Bees do like vanilla, and there's a trick when you're adding bees from one colony into another colony. If you'll take a squirt bottle with 1-to-1 and vanilla mixed in it, and and mist them and moisten them a little bit, it makes their acceptance into the new colony a little bit better. So at least that's what my mentor says, and I have no reason to not believe him.
I've seen a couple of videos.
Hey, Greg. And Rich, as soon as Greg starts talking to you, you went dark on us. There he is. So yeah, good to see you.
What the hell?
I'm going to drop that link in the chat here. Anybody want to click on it and come on in?
Yeah, we'll let more people in. Rich, you're gone again.
Gone. He got Cayman problems again. That internet's just locking up on him.
His intranet. Oh man.
Here you go. A question here, Bob.
I have no idea. I just know he puts vanilla extract into his bottle with his 1-to-1. I don't think it's a lot, just a little bit, because it helps mask the old queen pheromone is what I'm told. That's what he told me. So
Yeah.
I have no reason to doubt him.
I heard it masked queen pheromone, and then if you mix in bees from one colony to another without like a paper combined or slowly like that, it'll cover up alarm pheromone. Yeah, he's had an internet
Text to
problem.
speak. I want to see new blood. Somebody's got to step up and say they want to come in here and click that link. Let's see somebody. Let's see somebody. Who knows? We never know. We've had Ian Stepler in the chat. We've had Dirt Rooster on. We had Greg from Nature's Image Farm pop in before. Who else do we have in here? We've had Castle Hives in here. We've had Bruce Jenny.
Yeah, I missed tonight with Bruce. Or I was on. I missed while he was on. I had to go do something.
And we don't go Wednesday night because everybody knows the stream team is on Wednesday nights.
That's it.
So, yeah, peppermint and vanilla, right? Who would have thought it? There he is. But you got internet problems going on tonight?
No, it's weird when I hooked my Bluetooth in, I couldn't hear you guys, like switching over from Bluetooth.
That might have been a blessing. That might have been the Lord talking to you, saying you don't want to listen to their crap tonight.
I don't know. That's perfect timing. I had to make a call anyway, so that's good. Jennifer, I wanted to shout out to Jennifer because she's new to our group. I found her. We met in a Texas Bee Supply chat, so she took the same Heroes to Hives class too. So I'll kind of give a shout out to her. She's new to our group, and you guys will probably be seeing a lot more of her.
Does she have a YouTube channel yet?
Not yet.
Look who's tonight, ladies and gentlemen. He can't stay away. This is the biggest addict I've ever seen in my life. Sawmill Charlie, ladies and gentlemen.
There's nothing else to do.
Well, that's why we do it. We got that. You saw last night's chat was the no life beekeeping chat. We had nothing better to do than talk about bees, and we could go and go and go. So it's a good thing. So I don't know if you were on last night when I said there's a chance that I may be going to work at Blythewood Bee Company. So yeah, at least a part-time, help them out a little bit. I love discounts. Maybe I get an employee discount. But I'm the problem with Blythewood Bee Company, and I'm not talking negatively about them. They're a great company. The problem is that the owner, who is the beekeeper in that environment, is going through kidney failure. So he's on a kidney transplant list, and he's not there a lot of times. So there's things that, that they could improve upon that, that in fact they can't do, like Hive Life Conference. I talked to him about that. There's a chance. I'm waiting on Cayman to message me back. I messaged him that I might be going there and setting up, if everything works out, setting up a swarm commander, honeybee gone, a booth for them. We'll see. we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, that's kind of some good news. And I'm also working on trying to get some of my buddies here on YouTube some discount codes for their viewers. So, you know, they already give a military discount, but if you can give a discount code for your viewers, you know, that helps them out and might help you out too if we can figure that out. So just a couple things happening.
Okay.
I did call Gamber Mountain today. Waiting on them to or Gamber Container. Gamber Container to get back with me.
Did you find out whether or not they had a different price range?
Well, you know, when you go to the website, they don't have prices listed on there.
Yeah, I know they do. But we were talking about you. Lee was getting shipping or whatever it was difference.
Shipping? Nah, I don't know. Did you ask them what the shipping stuff was, Bob? Or you'll find out tomorrow when they send you email.
Well, whenever I get that email, I'm supposed to find out. And then if it looks crazy, I'm going to call them back and say, hey, this looks crazy. What are y'all doing? Overnighting it? No. I can get it next week. That'll be fine.
That's what they did with me. Let's overnight it.
Yeah, Chihuahua with an attitude.
All Chihuahuas have attitudes. My Huskies, they don't care. I mean, you could rob me. They would just lay there and probably show you where everything's at. The little dogs are the ones that give it to you.
Good night, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Hey, good night. Thanks for stopping in, brother.
Yeah,
But,
thinking about the Live Life thing, I was on Cayman's Live the other night, just in the chats, and I said something about I already reserved my hotel room.
Yeah, I
Cayman's
saw him respond.
He's like, I hadn't even reserved mine yet. But I called early and got a 20% discount on the hotel.
You know what I think would be cool? If we had a lot of beekeepers that were together and we just rented one of those houses that slept like 15 people.
I'll get like a VRBO or like a Airbnb where it's like
and just
8 or 9 rooms.
Slam up in there.
Yep. Everybody pitch in and spend like $100-$200 for the weekend for a room.
It'd be pretty cool. They usually have pool tables and jacuzzis and great views.
Yeah, that could be a good way to go about it.
Sarah said she had 2 in the other yard, but lost one.
See, Ricky, he needs a little dog like I got it.
Yeah, Ricky. Marley, I found him too. He's found him on the street, dude. He ended up in my house, man, and had him ever since. He's probably about, I don't know, 16, 17 years old, dude. He's an old man. And my vet's...
The conference is January, what do you say, 6th, 7th, and something like that?
6th and 7th, because I got my hotel for the 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Okay, 6th and 7th of January, 2023. And there was over 800 people last year. I didn't go. Charlie went. It was like
it was 850.
850, and I heard a rumor that they're thinking they might have 1,500 people there this year.
That's what Cayman's thinking.
Yeah.
So I mean, the word's getting out, right?
It's getting big, but I think it's a good place to. I mean, a lot of beekeepers, whether you commercial, sideline, hobbyist,
it's pretty amazing that he made the statement the other night that it is the biggest conference in the United States, and it's only been in existence like 2 years so far.
Yeah,
so that's pretty good.
And you look at his first year compared to his second year. I mean, it grew exponentially.
And he did it all on YouTube.
Yep. And Laurel doing a good job on it.
Yeah, and Cameron did all that just by promoting it on YouTube, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, you know, when you got
did that all himself.
26,000 subs, and then half your subs are YouTubers that also promote it. So it was kind of like a chain reaction, right?
Yeah, but I think he found a niche market there where I've been to some different conferences, and it's mostly either you're going to have all right, if you go to EA, I'm going to be going to EAS in August up in New York. It's science guys and their studies.
Right.
And a few, let's see, what did Cayman call them? the guys who do it for a living.
Commercial guys.
Yeah, but he had a name for him. Anyway, somebody that actually does it for a living type of thing. And you'll get a few of those occasionally. And it's usually the rest of them are for pretty much the beginners or trying to educate. All right, I just got off the University of Georgia and all this different stuff, and they had Jennifer Berry on there, and they had Cameron Jack, which happened to be at the Maryland bee meeting they have 3 times a year in person. And he's talking about varroa mites. Well, I mean, if you've been in beekeeping for a while, that's all you ever heard, and you kind of know what's going on there. There's nothing really any new information out there that I know of, and they didn't bring out any new information tonight. It was more or less rehashing the basics, as I'll call it.
Right.
And Jennifer's come up with some different experiments with on a couple of Bob Binney's videos. And some of those findings have been a little bit interesting.
Hey, Rich, in the Hives to Hero or the Heroes to Hives course, did they teach you about varroa mites?
A lot about varroa.
Okay, I was just wondering because
that was probably one of the most intensive parts about the course was varroa, disease management, pest management.
I was in.
That was the most taught part, really.
I was in Blythewood Bee Company probably 2 weeks ago, and there was somebody that just went to our local beekeeping course, and I kind of did ask them, "Are you guys going to go treatment free? Or are you going to treat the bees, or what's your plan?" They're like, "Oh, do we have to do that?" Yeah, either you're going to treat them or you're not going to treat them. I mean, that's kind of the thing, and they're not even going to be near their bees. Their bees are going to be like an hour away from them on another piece of property I have. So it's like, so I was just curious if that was like a topic that's in a lot of beekeeping courses, because I never took a beekeeping course.
Yeah. Jennifer, she just took it too. She agrees. Entire sections, it was all varroa, foul brood, prevention, maintenance, oxalic acid, mite strips, the works.
Everything.
It was everything. Yeah, that was probably one of the most extensive parts of the course that was taught. It was almost about three to four sections of that course was just pest and disease management.
How much of it was on small hive beetles?
Not as much as we talk about here. Definitely.
Well, I mean,
definitely. It was more varroa mite, but they did talk about small hive beetle, foul brood. They let us know what's out. They let us know what was out there for sure. They again, that course didn't teach us everything. Just to put that out there to everybody, okay? I don't know everything about beekeeping, but that course down near sure didn't teach me a solid foundation to know.
Well, yeah, they
to know what I'm looking at.
Concepts, right? I mean, that's what it's all about.
Well, not only the concepts, but they teach you about the management part of it.
Right.
They teach you about the oxalic acid treatment, how you're supposed to do it. Brood cycles, when you should do it. It wasn't just like, oh, it's varroa mites, here it is. No, this is what it does. These are the abnormalities it causes with your bees. This is what you need to look for if you have a high mite load. They go into tracheal mites a little bit, not so extensively as a lot of the other pests, but
would you say it was mostly pests that they would see more in Michigan, or is it?
Yeah, and again, this course was out of Michigan State, guys. I'm in Texas. Right. A lot of different way different microclimates. We're talking a whole country away. We're having 85-degree days here, average. Up in Ohio and Pennsylvania, you guys are getting snow. Bees are acting.
Right, I was just curious because we talk a lot about hive beetles here, probably more than most people want to talk about hive beetles. I understand that because for the most part, the people that come on this channel, other than maybe Charlie, have a problem with hive beetles. Charlie,
I know there's hive beetles here because my mentor just gave me some wax that I processed, and there were hive beetles in it. So I know we have hive beetles here.
Oh yeah,
they were there. There's hive beetles.
Plenty of them.
I found the larvae, the beetles in it. They're here.
Hey, we got a
Every
question here at the bottom.
Charlie, you want to take that one? Would it be possible to take 2 3-pound packages with an extra queen and make 3 colonies? And
I'd
if
take my
so,
dogs out
should I
back.
use a 5? I would use a 5 frame. That's for a package because they're not going to have
Well,
any.
so they're gonna get 2 packages with 2 queens in them,
And then buy an extra queen and make
extra
3
queen.
make 3 colonies out of the packages.
I
It would
would,
depend on what time of the year you're doing it and the temperatures, right? That would be the main consideration, I would think, at first.
if you're gonna split them down that low. But now remember, you have packages here. They,
They don't have any comb.
where's the comb at and all that kind of stuff.
Unless they've already got.
Unless they got their own comb.
The only
Right.
other issue I would have, the package that you're going to split, you would have a queen with one. Now the other one, you may have to wait a day or two for that queen pheromone to disappear before you add the new queen to it, or they may roll her.
I look at it this way. Number one, I'd put those 3-pound packages in a 5-frame nuke. That's the first thing. Second thing, I would not get that third or extra queen right away. I would grow them 2 packages, get them established. Get that, because that queen, when you get the package, is not related to the bees inside there. They first have to accept her and then get her going, laying, grow that hive up. And like I said, I guess it was last night, put that second 5-frame box on top where you got it's 5/5 and grow them to that point with those 2 different nukes. And now get yourself 2 more queens and make a split. And now you got 4 hives instead of 3 hives.
Sure.
Right.
And the big thing about it for everybody listening in here is that this is something that Michael Palmer started this 11 years ago about, nuke, the mighty nuke and all that kind of stuff. And beekeeping to me is about manipulation of the bees, trying to get them to do what you want to get them to do. So if you don't have any drawn foundation, if you put them in on a 5-frame nuke, then you've condensed them and forced them to only look at 5 frames with 10 sheets of brood. Well, 10, there's 10, total 10 sides, 2 sides per frame. And they will draw that wax out much better because all they're thinking about is those 5 frames. And of course, now you're feeding them sugar water 1-to-1 at that time. Get them built up, get the wax built up, get them laying. She'll be laying by the time they're pulling wax. Let them put another 5 frames on top of that, give them another month or so, and then split them. Now, and then, that will be I'll say it'll be a viable split, something that will be a high success rate.
Right.
Where if you try to do 1.5 pounds per box, then I would say it's like the hives behind me. They're my 2-frame mating nukes that I have.
That's what I was going to say, a 2-frame if it's split.
And I would put them 1.5 pounds. Yeah, as long as it's good and hot and it don't get below 60 degrees at night. But then to me, at that point in time, you got your fingers crossed. I hope it will be successful. Whereas if you give yourself a little more time and give the bees more time and a 5-frame with 3 pounds of bees and that queen and build them up and then split them, then your success rate will be 80 to 90%, in my opinion.
You would have a stronger split that would probably actually build up faster doing it that way versus splitting it 1.5 pounds to start with, and they're going to be slow.
Well, plus when you go to make the split, you'll have some frames of brood. You can move a frame of brood in with the split, and they'll be.
Yeah, but if they want to buy an extra queen, buy 2 extra queens, and now you got 2 extra hives. I guess what I'm saying is, you buy the package of bees, which is what, $140 right now, somewhere's in that neighborhood.
Yeah, depending where you're at. Yeah.
Where we're at. So now you spend $140. You've spent $280 for 2 packages, and you put them in there. You grow them up, and you get them 5/5. That's 10 frames of brood and food and wax and all that stuff, and then you spend. Queens are, I think, around, let's say, $30 to $35 a piece. So 60, that's what, $70. Spend an extra $70, and now you got two more highs for $35 a piece. And
Right.
that's how you to make increase and all. And that's what I'm saying. Like with you, Bob. I mean, you got hives that, what are you going to do with the hive? You're going to get that hive to make honey, or you're going to try to get that hive to make bees.
Right.
And then take that hive that's making bees, or that resource hives that they want to call it, and then keep splitting that hive at appropriate time. And either, if you can make your own queens and make a queen cell and put that right queen cell in there, and then let her hatch, most likely she's going to come back, mate it, and now you got another hive.
Well, I'm
But
hoping
you
we'll see tomorrow.
your input cost.
Right. We'll see tomorrow. I mean, how many queen cells I've got in that demo. I'm imagining it'll be a lot, because I moved a lot of I moved brood up, but I also moved a lot of eggs and larvae up. So I imagine it's going to be pretty good. Dry Cut said, Charlie, is that your mating yard in the background?
That's where that's my mating hives. That's actually, there's a couple racks there.
How far do you keep them from your other colonies?
I guess about 30 feet.
Sound like me.
I keep everything in the same hive. I traveled from, I had a friend of mine, he had several hives. He wanted more or less me to take care of his bees, and he would pay me the expenses and stuff like that. And because, that's only, traffic was minimal amount of traffic in the area. I could be there probably in 15 minutes or so, but normal would take me 20 or 30 minutes because of traffic. And I don't like that. It just, you lose an hour's worth of your time on the road.
Right.
And then you would forget something, or you got into a hive, weren't expecting a certain problem, and then you didn't have nothing. And then you'd have to come back and fix it the next day.
Right.
So I keep my nukes in the same yard. I keep my honey hives are in the same yard, and those 2-frame mating boxes. Now I will have to say that's definitely not the place to be, but I have to be very careful. Like, you can see the feeding jars on top, which all they are is I forget what it's called, Gatorade bottles, I think it is. And now I have these.
You got one hole drilled in the top of it?
Yeah, I got one hole that fits that cap. And then what I do is I made wooden boxes that actually fit over top of that. And then I found lately that instead of using egg bottles, see what happens is the sunlight hits them bottles and they'll get hot. Then they get cold. And then all that vacuum thing hits and it drowns on your bees. So I said, well, that's not working. So I use glass jars, but I cover them up with this box on top. And then also I've got it to a point where no bee can get in there. And it's a pint jar now. But one thing I did learn, my friend up the road, who's a Man Lake dealer, he sells that Pro Suite.
Right.
And that stuff, it's expensive, but bees can't smell it like sugar water. You put the Pro Suite on there, they don't smell it at all. And you can feed them that liquid. And
they still find it even though they can't smell it?
They can find it if they can find it, but they usually, I don't want to try to create robbing is an issue with a small hive like that. What I've thought about doing is, like when I was down at Hive Life where Kent Williams was talking about either a sugar brick, or I was thinking about, I do have some fondant. I was thinking about here recently. I said, I can cut little small, like 1/4-inch slabs of fondant and just put that in there if I need to feed them. They'll eat that just as well.
Do you ever get one of those, Charlie?
The thermostat.
Yeah,
Nah,
the
I haven't got
thermometer.
that. I haven't got that for that candy board thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I like the idea of a candy board. I've got them on some. I got them on 10 of my honey hives this
Well,
winter.
for making your fondant to get it to the right temperature.
Oh, fondant! I'm not doing that. Nah.
You're not gonna try again?
No, well, no. I made candy boards where you made solid rock candy, like when you make candy for human consumption, where it's rock hard.
Yeah.
That's what I actually made, candy boards. When it comes to fondant, I buy about the 50-pound blocks.
So I was thinking this was something we were talking about before the stream, because you've got your warming cabinet.
Oh, you mean honey hot box? Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that, but can you make it could you make a box out of 3/4-inch plywood and then styrofoam the crap out of the inside of it?
Sure.
The apiary up the road from me that I get some of my bees from, they have one made out of plywood. It's probably 5 foot by 5 foot by about 5.5 foot tall, and they don't even have it insulated. They put a metal frame in there and got little warming lights under it, and they put 55-gallon drums of honey in there to warm it.
And it gets warm enough inside the box, just a plywood box.
Yep. And then they have a honey pump, and it just pumps out of that drum through a wall into their bottling room.
Okay.
Yep, no insulation. It's just the plywood, a metal rack to hold the 55-gallon drum off the ground with the warming lights underneath it.
Huh.
You can do that. I mean, you can make it like you say. You can make a wooden box and insulate it with that 2-inch styrofoam insulation.
I think it would be better if you insulated. You wouldn't have to worry about the light kicking on and off as often. It would hold a better temperature.
All right. So
the reason I made wine out of a refrigerator, I'm utilizing the insulation factor.
Right.
And then I use the top box as my incubator. I thought about buying a reptile incubator for my queen cells, and that was like $200 to $300. And for about $65, I bought another ink bird controller and a heat lamp and fixture.
I saw those heat lamps at Lowe's today, the ones that you bought.
Yeah.
Almost got it.
Really? What are they worth?
I didn't check how much it was. I've got actually a couple of them for my chicken coop, so I might.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So
yeah, I couldn't tell you what the reptile thermometers or the reptile controllers are going for now. I used to have a bunch of them. I used to breed snakes, but I couldn't tell you what they're running right now.
He's been in it all.
Let's take a peek.
You can have
it at your fingers right here.
You can have all the snakes you want. I don't want no snakes.
What was it, Lee? It was a reptile warmer.
It's a reptile incubator. Basically, it would keep the eggs to a certain temperature.
Okay, let's take a
But
peek.
you know what? You can get like
$119 for at Triple L Reptile. $121 for it's called the Reptibator. Again, not promoting these items. I'm just saying this is what they are. Get them on Amazon. $119. There's one called the Hovabator. $100, $120. That's what's going to set you back. There's a Hovabator, the styrofoam setup, $65, $66.
But you know, a lot of the stuff that you can buy from suppliers, like stainless steel ball valves and stuff like that, you can buy from a plumbing supply house too, which is probably cheaper. Now, maybe not the one drip valve, but the I watched a video on the Lyson one, and it's a one drip valve too, it appears. But she just left the jar long enough to get that last little drip in there and then moved it.
Hey, Houston. Houston Shelton, my mentor told me that. It's 50-50 when you catch a swarm, man. He's like, you have a chance 50-50 of either keeping it or you have a chance of losing it. It's not guaranteed to keep a swarm.
Well, again, that's dependent on what you've got in the hive for resources. You know, if you got a piece of brood comb, probably increase your chances some to stay in.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I did what Houston told me and threw like a big chunk of that slum. Just threw it in the box. Threw it in the back corner of the box.
I've seen some of them. They say you can melt down some of that slum gum and just get you a little cheap 1-inch paintbrush and just put you a little stripe on the back of your box on the inside, and that would help hone in. There's all different ways.
Yeah. Texas says he's going to use a fridge as an incubator. Okay.
Or like we was talking, Bob, what I'm working on.
Yeah, I've seen a couple different ones on like eBay and stuff. Swarm Pro, and it's in like that blue bottle like that too.
Yeah.
But you know, when I was at Blythewood Bee Company and they had the 55-gallon drum of Swarm Commander, I was like, holy moly! And they do it.
We looked up at what $19.95 an ounce right now is what they had it at. And I think we figured that drum was like 7,000 ounces. Time just say $20 an ounce. You're looking at $140,000 for that one drum of Swarm Commander.
Retail.
Yeah.
And how long does it? I mean, who knows how long it lasts? You know, I mean, as far as in the jar or in the barrel. But yeah, it's crazy. It's a lot of money tied up. So we got about 12 or 14 minutes or something like that left. So before we're going to cut it off tonight, guys. But, you know, as usual, we do appreciate all of you for coming. And if there's anybody that has any questions, feel free to ask them. We just talk a lot. And I've been looking, I've been looking at a honey bottling tank. And I don't know. I need one. I mean, I got all this other equipment. It'd be stupid not to be still doing it out of a 5-gallon pail, right? I mean, I could do it, but it's just like.
If just you trying to make your mind up, warm, not warm.
Yeah, warm or not warm. Because so far I haven't had enough honey to not be able to bottle it all at one time, right? So then if I do get a bunch of honey, if I store it, then I want a heated one, right? So if it crystallizes or something, I can warm it up. But my thing is, do I need that?
If it was up to me, I would go with the warming one because I mean, think about it. You're either going to buy a non-warm one now for what $200-300, or later you're going to have tons of honey in buckets that you're going to have to decrystallize, and you're going to have to turn around and spend $800 or whatever on a warming one. Then plus you already got the $300 or $400 one.
Right.
Jennifer, this is my first year swarm trapping in the hill country, but I'm seeing a lot of bees around here.
You guys
I know they're here.
Thinking about spending more money. More money.
Good night, Sarah.
Good night, Sarah.
Night, Sarah.
So yeah, it's
you too, Sarah.
But the thing I do like about that one is that it's got that strainer that fits right in the top. That's the only
that was like a metal strainer that kind of curves down.
It's a metal strainer that sits it fits right in the 100-liter tank. I mean, it's extra.
They have that on Daydant. The metal strainer that sits on top of your bottling tank. You can get that from Daydant also.
Yeah, this one actually fits down in the top of it. It's not like an extra piece that sits on top. It actually goes down in. Kind of like, you know, that double sieve, the metal ones that you got, how one goes inside the other one. It does that inside the tank. So
they got different sizes depending if you got 14, 18-inch, 24, 30-inch. But I'm going to bring it up here so you can see what I'm talking about. Basically, it sits on the top rim of your bottling tank, but then it goes down into the tank.
So it lets you put probably a whole 5-gallon bucket in there.
Dennis, I'm with you there, man. Every time you watch these, you learn something new, man.
But the heck, I learn stuff new every time.
Yeah, every time, man. You learn a little something new, man. Take that little piece and apply it to your bee yard.
You know? You got different size strainers.
Are those strainers for just a holding tank?
So this, let me see.
Size size tank, yeah, it'll just be in like your bottling tank or hold a tank, whatever you want to use it for. You can put it on top, pour your bucket through it, or if you got a honey pump and you just run your hose to it, let it stream through there. It just strains all the excess wax off.
Yeah, well, see, when I'm bottling, I'll put mine in 5-gallon buckets, but I have that double screen strainer, for the buckets.
So this one,
Yeah. Oh, you talking about the little stainless steel, the double mesh? I
Yeah,
bought that. It made like 35 a piece.
Yeah,
this is the Lyson one, and it actually sits inside the tank. It fits the diameter of the tank, and it just sits in there. So when you pour your honey in, it gives it like a last little strain.
yeah. I mean, I strain mine as it comes out of the extractor. I mean, it does slow things up a bit. I mean, but with me, I don't know. Like you got the system that you bought, where it's designed to where you got an extractor full of frames spinning, and you're trying to get another 30 frames ready to go, so you can just switch over.
Right.
And with me, I'm normally by myself. So it's like I tell people, I says, yeah, by the time I get 18 frames uncapped, fill that extractor up. And then as it's spinning and waiting on it, I'm ready for a break anyway. Or I don't have much time in the evenings, only to get maybe one spin, one extractor full to begin with.
I got
Then
you.
it's time to clean up and all the other stuff that goes along with it.
So
Now,
Dennis
this
said,
strainer right here fits your 5-gallon buckets also. And they, price
Right
wise,
text.
they're a lot better. $8.95, and they're easy to clean out. All I do, I turn it upside down, let the excess honey drip out, and then I run
The
warm
bees go to
water
work on it. Huh?
backwards. That way, you're not trying to.
Okay. So he found Dennis found 2 capped and 4 uncapped swarm cells from the swarm he talked about the other day.
so when those colonies swarm out, we've talked about so much, I don't remember.
I don't know. Well, I guess what I'm saying is you got it in a hive. Are the 2 capped on the same frame, or are they on 2 different frames? Dennis.
Takes them. There's like at least a 10-second lag behind when we're talking and when they see it.
Well, I mean, if they're on the same frame or on 2 different frames, you can make a split easy.
Let's see what we got. Trying to.
And if there's uncapped on the one side, well, if they're not all on the same frame, you got them on multiple frames. You could take each one of them frames and put them in 2 different nukes and split the hive. If you got enough frames and enough bees.
Oh, they're on separate frames. He said.
I mean, if you got enough bees in there, pull them frames out, put the frames in 2 different boxes, and put the bees in there with them. Some more brood and food, and like we said,
food even,
and make a split. The
split them in half and put a queen cell on each side, right?
Yeah, find 2 nuke boxes, and if it's a 10-frame box, take 5 and 5 out, put them in 2 different boxes, or take 5 out, actually. I mean, obviously there's a queen in there, right? The home parent queen. So really, I mean, the way you're really supposed to do that is take the parent queen out, put her in the split, and that's basically making you're swarming her out of that hive.
And all of her foragers that were in the old colony will come back and strengthen the split.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could, in that situation, you could almost make 3 splits. You can take her out along with so many frames of brood and food, put that in a nuke, and then take the other frame out of there that's got a capped queen cell, put that in a nuke with some more resources, out of that same hive, and then leave the other cat queen cell and with enough bees in there to keep everything warm and everything. I don't know whether that's a double deep situation or what. You might be getting a little weak there. But the one with the queen, you don't have to have as many resources because she's up and running, making cell or eggs, things like that. So it's kind of a, you've got some options there. You could make more hives.
Make a bad situation into a good one.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it seems like this is probably a good time then, since it looks like the numbers are dwindling down and last comment came through. We'll take it as a break. And how about we see everybody next Tuesday?
All right.
Me.
And hit the thumbs up on the way out if you didn't hit it on the way in. And
click that subscribe button.
Yep, and you might
like and
see
subscribe,
us
y'all.
Sometime this week if we just get the wild hair in our behinds to do it.
Yep.
Good night, Rhonda. Good seeing you. Good night, Johnny. Jennifer, get with me and we could talk about the swarm trapping and stuff. It's my first year, so.
All right, guys. Well, everybody have a good night, and we'll see you on the next show.
All right.
See you guys. Good night, guys.
Thanks, guys.